many still don't get it when we say X. So, and then of course my favorite place these days, we're talking about TikTok, but please, let's become part of this. I remember somebody made a comment and said, why do I pronounce but? So it's but. But we have to continue. And as it is, we also do have cash out. It goes with the short code *439#. Please make sure you choose option 2. When you dial option 2, you're going to get a prompt. That prompt is going to ask you to choose the number of tickets. I encourage you to, as many times as you can, increase the number of tickets, 20 tickets plus, 30, 40, because that's what you do if you want to get lucky. What we want to do this morning is to make sure that after we've had the first part of the discussions, we will be in a position to do the first draw. But again, all depends on you as well. So please make sure you join us and let's have some great time. So choose option 2, increase the number of tickets. You do it as many times as you can, become one of those lucky winners. And I tell you that encouragingly, you become as many times lucky if you also get to be part of this as well. We also know that the Ghana Coalition Against Galamsey is calling for, or illegal mining is calling for the immediate prosecution of Akunta Mining Limited. A number of also sporadic reports of some even members of parliament were told, according to the report, suspiciously also involved as well. And so we'll be talking about what needs to be done. But foremostly, we'll be looking at the debate that has been on since the better part of the end of last week, which transitioned into the weekend. But this time from a consumer perspective, the agitations and then the advocacy, especially on discussion platforms about why we need to see, or shouldn't we see, a reflection in reduction of consumer prices for basic goods and services, because the CD, as we are witnessing, is appreciating against the US dollar and some of the major trading currencies. But you also get to have some experts telling you that this is not a permanent feature because the fundamentals of the economy are still the way they are, structurally not strengthened. And so you also have the policy issues of import substitution not fully achieved. And so it also means that we have to hasten cautiously, as the expression is. Let me also introduce you to our discussant this morning. I have a legal practitioner, also with the Movement for Change, Andrew Apia Dankwa. He's here. Good morning to you.
Yeah, good morning.
Yeah, you're not going to the court today, I presume, as you're in Kaftan. And then also Dr. Bernard Tutubuahin is a political strategist, but also a lecturer in entrepreneurship, and then also startups, but also social enterprises at the University of Education, Winneba. He's also a consultant in many respects and in many regards. He's here again. Good morning to you. How are you?
Good morning, Roland.
Great, great. You'll be going to school this morning, your campus?
Yes, I'll be going this morning.
You know the floods affected some of the areas.
Yeah, the Castle Road there.
Yeah, it's always a drudgery when you have to go to.
Yeah.
I have a funeral in Solpong, close of the month, I think. I hope that I'll be able to meander my way through. Let me say good morning to Ejiri, Nasir Ejiri, good morning to you. Nana Gazo is also watching us. And then also Kojo Bona, great guy, as always, with Radio Entertainment and the rest of the people. Wishing you all the best for the day. Prince Nana Yao York is also watching us across our social media platforms. We're grateful, as always, when you get to watch us. Please share the stream. Let's have some great conversations this morning. And it's the city. The critics of government say that it's not any actions by Kessie Latoforsen, who foremostly as Minister for Finance and Economic Planning is in charge of fiscal policy, but also monetary policy, the Bank of Ghana, Governor and the rest of his team leading that, but rather the war, the tariff war that Donald Trump started or triggered. And so far, we already are seeing a number of discussions at that front as well. That is why the CD is appreciating against the US dollar. The concern for us consumers is what should we be doing? Why shouldn't we be asking traders as well as retailers to reduce prices? So a number of things have been said so far, but let me first touch base with you. What do you make of this appreciation, but also the discussions that are ongoing from the part of consumers that we need to see a gradual reduction with all those nuances therein in relation to the CD's appreciation against the US dollar as well as the major trading currencies?
All right. Good morning. Good morning to my brother, lawyer. Good morning to our viewers and social media followers. We thank them for continuously listening to us, and we appreciate the comments that they equally give to us, suggesting that those of us on the panel, we are doing something good for Mother Ghana. So we urge them to keep listening and also to encourage us the more. I think that the CD actually appreciating to the dollar is something that we all are looking forward to. And if you cast our minds back, what we saw in the early 2000s when President Kufuor, decided to give the CD some value by cutting off about 5 zeros or 4 zeros. 4 zeros. Yeah, which more or less made the CD a bit stronger, to the dollar.
It did?
Yes, it did. Because those days, one CD was around 0.9, not really.
In fact, $1 was equal to 0.9
CD. Okay, $1,
Oh, it was less than one CD.
Yes. So that suggested that at least we've achieved something, and we're expecting that it will be maintained.
You mean the devaluation?
The devaluation will be maintained.
Well, that was artificial.
Yes, it was. And you see, the key reason, for the continuous depreciation of the CD against, the major trading currencies, dollar, pound, and even recently, the South African rand, is something to be worried. And I feel that those things that we need as a country, to stabilize the CD and then make the CD stronger, have not been given any much attention. And to me, I am surprised that past governments, have not explored, certain micro and macroeconomic indicators, to be able to stabilize the CD and make it even more stronger. And so for me, when people talk about the fact that the appreciation appears to be artificial, I may want to agree with them. Because you see, when you check the import-export deficits, Ghana is actually not doing well. And again, it suggests that we are doing more imports than exports. All right. Now, when that happens, normally what it means is that you would convert more CDs into dollars and others. And that suggests that there will be so much pressure, on the dollar. And when that happens, when demand exceeds supply, obviously, economics 101 will tell you that prices will shoot up. Now, so what it means is that probably we need to set up certain manufacturing firms in Ghana, which at least will serve certain basic needs, where Ghana will move away from at least importing tomatoes, importing contumely, importing basic, items like toothpicks, soap and the rest. And recently I even heard that chicken, the import of chicken, the value for chicken importation exceeds, $250 million. And that is really bad. All right. So are we saying that we cannot rear, fowls in this country, so that we reduce that kind of value that we are losing? And again, if you have also observed carefully, some of these importations, is also adding up to, how do you call it, inflation, imported inflation and all others. And I think that the economists, have articulated most of these things, And so I feel that we need to sit down. If the 24-hour economy is anything to go by, I think that the president must do well. I feel, again, that, this issue about, is it the Ejumera, that was launched, the government must give it a priority. And I feel, again, that, the one district, one factory thing, again, should not be abandoned, but it should be continued, so that at least more jobs can be created, for people, and a lot more, value addition will be given to the raw materials that we end up, exporting. For instance, you export timber in the raw form, without any value addition. China, carpenters in China who manufacture, sofas and the rest, and come and sell it to you at a very high prices.
They are even manufacturing some here.
Yes, now
that's even now. They are even having manufacturing bases here now.
Yes, but you see, when you compare those coming from outside, then obviously the Ghanaian,
no, I mean even the Chinese are now.
They are doing it here.
Yeah.
Okay, so then that is good. What it means is that at least.
But still, the money goes out.
It goes.
At the end of
yes,
the day. That's finally, the bottom line of the conversation.
Yeah. So, but what can be done again is that if, VW has come. Okay, I hear Kia is also here. Nissan is here. All right. Now, if the government can negotiate and bring some of these companies, probably because government doesn't have the startup monies and all that, at least it will do us some good when we set up the factories, in the country to produce some of the things here. At least, even if they will repatriate some monies, to their countries, right? What it also means is that they've created jobs, okay, in one form or the other. So, and then they'll be paying taxes, all right? So, a percentage of the money, be retained. And I think that this issue about local content law, should be enforced. When that side...
You mean the GIPC law that says that you don't have to do retail trading?
No, not really.
Or the local content law?
The local content law itself.
Okay.
Yeah. Where,
that's in the incorporation and...
Exactly. You see, it's where, at least some percentage of employees should be reserved for top managers and lower level managers. And even in terms of your productions, a percentage should be retained in the country. Some of these things at least would help, to balance, the weight of the cedi against major trading currencies. And it will make it a bit more sustainable, than the state in which we find ourselves. Now, what my fear is that if, you see, we are talking about the U.S. and the problems, they have with China and Canada.
The other trading,
exactly.
The European bloc also.
Exactly. And you see, you cannot trust China because, you see, in politics, you can't trust U.S. and China because in politics, there's no permanent, friendship, right? Isn't it? Is that what we say?
Yeah.
Yes. Now, what it means is that if China should decide, okay, we will play to the rules and regulations of, U.S., or U.S. decide that, okay, let's come to a compromise, and then meet at a central point. And then they decide. It means that we have lost whatever gain that we think we are making out of it, isn't it? Again, trade shifts could also come in. Now, if you are moving, our imports from the U.S., definitely the businessman will not sit down and go hungry, isn't it? The businessman may probably want to go to China as a substitute to, U.S. What happens? It means that the same amount of money that the person was using for business in U.S. is now going to China. All right, and it is even going to make the Chinese currency a bit stronger, as to the city. And when that happens, what have we gained? We've not gained anything. So the point is that as a country, we need to sit down and deliberately discuss this issue to know. In fact, when I was coming, I was listening to one of the radio stations, and they were talking about value additions. My first degree project work was on
value addition.
It was actually on non-traditional exports. And one of the key findings that I saw was that, you see, value addition is key, to our export drive. When I was coming and listening, I heard that, the value for non-traditional exports, especially products related to cocoa, has actually, appreciated. And that is good for Ghana, all right? And they were talking about the fact that it is the highest, part of the non-traditional exports that is actually bringing a lot more money, to us. You see, so we need to understand some of these things and how we can, leverage, we can leverage it and then, boost our economy, reduce, the stress, that the city has been going through. Today, it is the best currency. The next time, it becomes the worst performing currency. And the question is, what is the missing link? All right. Are we prepared as a country, to find out what is actually happening within the gaps? What is creating these gaps? And are we going to have a deliberate policy, where these policies will be transferred from one government to the other, and not be left in the woods, to ensure that at least when a government sees something good in another policy, you don't just come and throw it off board, but continuity becomes the order of the day. And that will help us, develop our country the best way that we need to do. Right.
What do you make of the politics that seem to have clouded the... Oh, let me just introduce Dr. Rashid Tanko Computer. Good morning to you, Chief Executive for GIFEC, and thank you for joining us this morning.
Good morning.
Great.
Good morning to my colleagues.
Thank you as well. Thank you. What do you make, Lawyer Pierre Dankwa, of the policy that seem to have clouded the narrative as to why we have the CD's appreciation?
So, Roland, let me wish yourself a good morning.
Good morning.
Wish my professor here a good morning, and wish Mr. Computer a good morning. Wish your lovely viewers a good morning. It's always a pleasure to be on this platform. Well, as to what I make of the politics, I'll say I'm not surprised. That's what we do in this country. For 32 years, we've been sold a running soap opera where after every 8 years, a group of people, one becomes protagonist, another becomes antagonist, and we think that once you are not in power, your duty is to oppose for opposition's sake. See, I'm a young man, but one thing I've learned quickly in life is that nothing happens per chance. I've never believed that anything happens per chance. So I've never bought the argument that the gains the city is making against the dollar, first of all, is per chance or is artificial. Because if you make that argument, then I'm also going to say that the depreciation, the extent of the depreciation of the city against the dollar some few years ago was also artificial. We need to take that thing out of our minds if we have to develop. Nothing happens per chance. Things happen because, and that's why we have cause and we have effect. If you do basic physics, it will tell you that one of Newton's laws is about action and reactions are opposite and equal. So everything that happens for a reason. So the appreciation of the cedi against the dollar has happened because of a reason. It's a duty to find out why it has happened, so that it will help us to sustain the gains as a way. Now I think the politics is saying that the cedi has appreciated because of the U.S.-China trade war. In fact, it is important for us to notice that U.S. and China have actually reached some agreement, some form of agreement, as we speak. And so right now, I think goods from U.S. to China will attract, I think, 10%. Goods from China to the U.S. will attract 30%. So if that were the case, or the trade war right now, then we should be seeing an appreciation of the dollar against the cedi again. Secondly, over the past 5 months, the dollar globally has depreciated by about 5.1%. Over the past 5 months, within the same period, the cedi has appreciated against the dollar, or the dollar up to 15.1%. 15.1%. So, how can you make an argument based on these figures that indeed the reasons for the appreciation of the cedi against the dollar is because of the trade war? Then it should have been 5.1%.
But how about making an argument or asking the question? It could also be partly a factor.
Exactly, but not entirely. That's what I'm saying.
Yes, not entirely.
That's what I'm saying, that over the last 5 months, the US generally has depreciated. The US dollar has depreciated about 5.1%. But the cedi has appreciated against the US dollar 15.1%. That's a whooping 10%. Whooping 10% gap. So it's a small factor. So majority of our appreciation is not because of the general depreciation of the US dollar globally. Also, the question is that I understand the naira is still depreciating against the US dollar. Also, what of the CFE? And indeed, if it was because of the trade war, then the cedi should only have appreciated against the dollar, not against the pound sterling, not against the euro. So that argument, in my opinion, falls flat. We should stop this kind of data politics and be serious, because we are building a country. You understand? So our duty then is to try and understand why is the cedi appreciating against the dollar. See, generally, we know that in the kind of environment we are, because they say we are in a free trade world right now, the factors of demand and supply also comes to play in how your currency performs. But that is not 100% the reason why your currency will do or not. We shouldn't lose fact of the confidence the people have in the economy also, because that's very critical. And I'm saying this because deliberate efforts, especially by Bank of Ghana, to deal with the cedi depreciation started before this government. Around May last year, they started this gold purchasing policy whose focus was to aid in. Also, around November, they passed a regulation which said that, listen, private equity fund managers cannot deal with offshore markets. And the focus of all this was to increase what's called the dollar, in the system. In spite of all those very positive efforts, and they're part of the reasons why the cedi is doing well, we didn't have this radical appreciation. Why? Because still the people of Ghana did not have confidence in the economy at that time. You get the picture. Now, we changed government because last year when we were doing our communication and our campaign, one of the key arguments we made was that one of the reasons why we had to change government was so that we will start the process of restoring the confidence of the people of this country and the globe generally in the economy of this country. Because the economy of this country, over the last 8 years, in terms of confidence, had sunk to an all-time low. And the reference point is the extent to which FDIs shrunk from about 3.2 billion around 2017 to only about 600 million USD. So it was critical that we found ways as a people to restore the confidence of the people in the economy of this country. I think the change did that. Also, it's necessary that we recommend John Mahama's leadership in terms of certain statements he's made and the impact of those statements in how the city is doing. You see, when he came, he made some critical statements. That one, the buffer stock, the school feeding program, and should not buy their product, their food from outside, and that they should be bought locally. And do you know the impact of that statement on the performance of the city? Immediately, people will know, as in the demand on the dollar will shrink immediately. You get a picture. So, for me, I think that the reason why the city is doing well as against the dollar, in my view, is one, because of a bit of confidence the people of this country are beginning to have in our economy. So people are not converting their money to dollar to HOD. Indeed, last week I was in Kumasi and an auntie of mine called that she has some euros. They should quickly go and change it because she doesn't want to lose.
Depending on the quantity.
It was huge. Well, she's a businesswoman. What I'm saying is that so right now some confidence is being built. The speculation right now is tilting in favor of the cedi as against the dollar, and also we are more dollars are coming in as against going out. And I'm saying that one. Also talking about the politics, we should also give the previous regime some bit of credit, not in the confidence level,
but the policy side.
Yeah, like me, the gold purchase
monetary policy,
and then their policy to restrict private equity fund managers in their dealings, in their offshore dealings. But largely, I think the biggest or the chunk of the commendation has to go to the current regime. Okay. They found a way of at least restoring a bit of confidence in our economy, and the indication they've also given, and the case in point is, and I'll reiterate this again, is telling us that listen, do not buffer stock, school feeding, and all those things. Don't buy imported food items. You understand? Source from within, and so. We play politics, but we should know when to play the politics. As in, issues that are so fundamental to the well-being of all of us, as in, should cause us to rise above the petty politics and put the interest of the country ahead. And I think it's good that the president and the NDC really are not making too much noise about the gains here. Because in fact, if we should do anything, they should encourage us to even do further, because it's not about having some gains, but about sustaining same and even creating a system which will cause the cedi to appreciate further against the dollar. So the job isn't done. We are not out of the woods yet. And this isn't the time for us to be patting our backs, but if anything, this is a time for us to be encouraged to put the interest of the nation above our individual parochial interests. Where there's a need for us to commend the previous regime, we should do so. But then ultimately, I think the appreciation is a reflection of a lot of positives that this regime has done, and they should be commended.
And the pressure is on government. I see that your assigns and even the main Minister of Finance and even the Bank of Ghana are very much measured in the way they tend to communicate, whether there's a plus or a minus, or we have to be cautiously optimistic. However, on the consumer side, Ghanaians are screaming. They quickly, perhaps, whether it's us not understanding the various metrics in economics, that we want sharp reduction in prices of basic consumables. Well, how does that ring a bell or rhyme on the corridors of government?
Very well.
Dr.
Let me once again greet you and then and the good people of Bimbilla. That's my hometown. I mean, it's a nice place. I invite all of you to once Bimbilla to come and visit there. It's a very nice place.
Is that your constituency?
Yes, that's my constituency as well. Bimbilla constituency. It's a very nice place. I want council here and Doc to visit there. You'll like the place. Yeah. Okay.
I've been to Bimbilla before.
Okay, you see, it's a very nice place. Very nice place. You know, Roland, like council stated, this cedi appreciation is not artificial at all. It has nothing to do with the American listing, the trade war and other thing. I'm just going to run you through the Francophone zone. Okay, the Francophone zone. If you look at the CFA, that is the CFA, it's doing $1 to 586.44 CFA, the Francophone zone. Now, if you come to Kenya, which is doing the Kenyan shilling, is doing 129.66 shilling per dollar. Now, if you look at our neighbors, Nigeria, the Naira is doing 1,605.75 to a dollar. Ghana, we are doing 12.42 cedis. How can you describe this as because of the trade war? So that one, it doesn't affect those countries. When they are doing propaganda, sometimes they think that we are just like them. Everybody thinks like them. No, I'm just telling you, what they are saying is that look, this is the time for them to commend His Excellency John Dramani Mahama and his finance minister for doing this fantastic job within the shortest possible time. Arrested the downtrend of the dollar, and the cedi to the dollar, and make sure that, look, appreciating to 15 points something is not a small thing. It's not a mean thing. It takes brilliant initiative. Bring all this one to bear. And you know, when he cut down the costs of governance, people didn't understand what it meant.
You mean the overall effect?
The overall effect. When you reduce governance, look, from 126 ministers to 56 currently, what do you expect? You are cutting down the cost of governance. Go to the Flagstaff House. Today, only 17 communicators, no, 7 communicators are communicating for the seat of government currently.
Under Felix Kwachofoso?
Yes, Felix Kwachofoso. Under their regime, you were talking about 28 people communicating for the same presidency. Overall effect was that they had over 1,000 plus communicators in the Flagstaff House. I don't know what they were doing. They were all feeding fat on the consolidated fund. Now, His Excellency has cut down the size of government. All this one has an effect on the economy and the way we run the issue. There's no too much pressure on the cedi as of now. Okay, and these are plus. And Ghanaians are living with it. Today, go to the pumps. Yesterday, I saw somebody holding a gallon and saying, look, John Mama, he prays that the man should continue to be there till he dies. Because they have never seen this kind of thing. For a very long time, he could send 50 Ghana cedis and get a full gallon. And was holding it. Another trot driver was, in fact, he even wrote that this man, John Mama, is better than somebody. As a signboard on this thing. Because they are living testimonies to it. Very soon, they are even going to enjoy more because a lot of goodies are coming on their way.
Which are?
Of course. Guta has written to their members to, as a matter of agency, reduce prices of goods. Some have started.
Guta?
Guta.
But we don't have price control regimes.
No, we don't. But you see, they control this thing. They are the leadership of the
late 70s,
no,
early
those
80s,
days, yes,
those days,
which you used to have the thing with having price control.
Because of Kalabule.
Kalabule and others. Those are the days of Abansika Yedinikwa. Actually, those days. We leave it with before, and we know what happened. Now, we have a liberalized market. But they have leadership. Guta is the leadership of these traders in the market. And they've also come to appreciate that government is doing fantastic in terms of handling of the economy. And therefore, they should also respond positively to the initiatives from government. And now I'm not surprised. Look at the cement is now going down drastically. Now you go to the market, you can get cement as low as 80 Ghana cedis. Okay, from the 140 it was hitting. Now these are the things we are doing. So it's not artificial. They shouldn't think that they have it under their term. They had all the gold. They were using gold to purchase fuel. Yet we were going down and going down and going down. Now we brought in this gold board. All these initiatives are meant to stabilize the economy. And I'm sure they know about what gold board is doing towards this stabilization of the cedi. Because now we have centralized market of the gold. And apart from gold board and Bank of Ghana, you cannot trade gold outside this realm. All these are control measures to see how the cash inflows are running the country. And so these are the mechanisms His Excellency John Dramani government is putting in place. And it's in fact, Ghanaians are living testimonies, so they are living with it. And I'm saying our opponents are even enjoying more than us.
I don't understand.
Are they not going to the pumps? They go and buy fuel.
But the ordinary Ghanaians as well.
I'm saying that they should be in the forefront of thanking His Excellency John Dramani for making sure that their businesses are up. Most of them businesses they are going to enjoy because...
Dr. Computer.
Yes.
What Guta, as well as known economists like Dr. Bokpen, we have Tio Champong, and all of them do indicate that we've been there before. You remember, is it the first 100 days economic lecture or when the city was arrested, taken to the IGP, etc. So we've seen this before. Then the assurances that are needed from all of us, as well as those astute economists, is how are we going to make sure that we maintain the momentum? Because we know that once we have the increased demand, which will be as a result of stocks that will be needed from suppliers of these wholesalers, either Guta or from procurement processes within state agencies, then it means that the demands become high, and by the various rhetorics in economics also tends to affect the way it is.
Roland, you see, I appreciate their concern about this.
Would you say it's a genuine concern?
No, I am saying...
What assurances are there?
The assurances are there. Ours is not like theirs. Under their time, when he was saying they arrested the dollar, he gave it to the IGP and other thing, do you know what they were doing behind the scene? They had gone to appoint about 126 ministers. You have CEOs who are deputy CEOs, about 6 of them. Each agencies had deputy CEOs who were running to about 6, some 5. This was the kind of government, elephant-sized type of government.
Elephantized?
Yes, very big, huge type of government that they were running with a small economy. What do you expect? That's how we all went down the drain.
So the key is that there's been reduction in government
reduction
spending.
in government currently. We promised 60. Unfortunately, I'm told they want to do a press conference because we have not hit the 60 yet.
Yeah, you're still at 50.
56.
Right? 56.
Yes.
And I heard, is it the Deputy General Secretary?
Yes,
is it Harry now?
They are doing press conference.
He's been raising concerns that John Mahama hasn't been able to meet that. Just hold on there. I'll let you conclude on that. Because we have Dr. Joseph Obeng. He's the president for the Ghana Union of Traders Association. Dr. Obeng, you take a look at the pressure that is coming from us, the consumers. And I put myself in the brackets or the demographics of a consumer. I also want reduction in basic goods and services. For you who tend to interface with the supply chain market, particularly your sources where you get your stock from, what are the considerations you make in order to react to some of these excessive demands from us consumers and ordinary Ghanaians?
Okay. So our cost factors are varying, but admittedly, the foreign exchange and the forex rates plays a very key part. The VAT is also very key to our pricing, and of course the duty prices and all that.
Okay.
But you see, the forex gains that we are having is having a very significant impact on our business now, because even when we are paying duty, it is the benchmark for payment of duty. So as it comes down, at least you are going to make savings even at that level. At the same time, also when you change the money itself, you are having a gain. And the fact that is very significant and somehow predictable, because you see, from January to somewhere March, we have a reasonable stability. So this sharp drop came. And so definitely we didn't say that it's not a very good trend. It's a very good trend that have impacted, possibly especially for those who transact the transact in the forest itself. We, the importers, most of us have gotten the gains that it has started showing, manifesting that we are transferring some of the gains to them. Much as we are also recouping some for our losses during the last couple of years of the high rate of the forest. And so the impact has started showing, and then the Ghanaian consuming public should know that the market that we have is a consumer market. It's not a seller's market. When you go abroad, it's a seller's market. You go to the counter, and then you go to the shop, and the prices are fixed. You take it to the teller, just give you the price, you go. Here, you see so many thousands of people trading in the same commodity line. You bargain. You will reward the person who give you the cheaper price and punish the one whose price is high.
Okay.
So competition itself, the market forces, will also determine, is the determinant of our prices and all that. Our challenge here is that most of our retailers do not trade directly with the forest. They depend on the importer to buy the goods from. So when they buy the goods from them, until they have sold reasonable quantities before they go and replenish them. But I must say, for about 5 weeks, continuous show of this trend.
All right.
And nobody can say that for 5 weeks I haven't sold significant portions of my goods to replenish, so that you can strike a reasonable balance. That's what I've been using to tell them.
Okay. So, Dr. Obing, do I get the understanding that the bulk, if not the majority of your members, are not direct importers from their suppliers? Is that what you're saying?
Oh, about 80% are retailers.
Okay.
Okay. So big wholesalers.
Okay. So let me just situate the question then. Does that mean that the annual perhaps fluctuations, or whether
your line is not clear, please?
Can you hear me clearly now, Dr. Obing?
Yeah, it's not clear, and then I think people are talking too much at the back. So make it clear.
All right. Is it better now?
It's better. Sir.
Okay. So we know how the Ghana cedi behaves against the major trading currencies. I do know that, for example, we have the quarterly effect, so to speak. So you go take you go take your goods, or you source from your suppliers by the beginning of the last quarter of each year, just to make sure that you make room for the November-December period, as well as the January period. Then you are able to mop up enough cedis and get back to your importers, i.e. also the suppliers, of course, into US dollar, to make up or to cater for the first quarter of the year, and subsequently also affects the third quarter as well, following what you recoup after the second quarter. Now, if you take what has been happening over the last 5 weeks, how do you think, if your members are well measured, they could put themselves in that position, looking at how the cedi has been behaving over the years historically, and then make a categorical judgment to say there's a certain focus I can make for my stock, and then the consumer or purchasing behavior, as a result of that, I can say I want to reduce the prices by X or Y, so that consumers will be affected.
Okay. So there are so many ways to this. And that's why we also say that sustainability of the whole thing is very important. How are we going to make sure that we are going to maintain the gains? Because that is going to be the major determinant for whether prices will eventually come down absolutely or not. So I thank you for this. But then also, let me give you these two scenarios. We have people who travel, maybe January, February, they were going to buy their goods. Some of them, they have to change their money physically. So at the time when the dollar is 15.5 or 16, he has changed fiscal money and have gone to Dubai, Turkey, or India, elsewhere, to bring his goods. Maybe the goods took about 3 months to come. So somewhere it came somewhere March end. And so these are set of people who will be very much affected. I hope you know that.
Yes.
And then there are people, the great majority, and then especially importantly, the bigger players who are the major even let me put manufacturers and then traders who import. Normally they do so with LC, letters of credit, or suppliers credit. So maybe January or February you were importing the dollar was 16. You have established your LC. Then 120 days or 150 days that was given you matures today that I'm talking to you. So this is today that your maturity. But at the time that you are doing the transaction with the bank, the exchange rate was 16. But when you are paying today and then it's 13.5, it's a windfall for you. It's a windfall because your goods have come, you've sold some of them, and then the rates have come down. So instead of you going to pay the $16, now you are paying 13.5. The truth must be told. You've gained. And so in that particular, it shouldn't be difficult for you at all to respond to the gains and transfer to the consumer. Because the business that we do, the trading that we don't do it in isolation.
Okay.
We do it with the consuming public. They are the ones that we call our customers. So if the consumer is challenged, it doesn't help us.
Okay.
That business thrives on turnover. So if you're able to turn over, that's where you're able to even service your debt at the bank and service your suppliers.
So, Dr. Bing, let's cut to the chase. Now, consumers like us, we want reduction. What power or influence or persuasion do you have on those members that you say you insist and are appealing for them to reduce the prices so that we can
So we are not in price control regime, admittedly, but then morally we have the right to also to appeal to our members' conscience, to show good faith to the consuming public. You see, the reason why I'm so tired of doing this, working myself out to do this, is because when I normally go to the negotiation table with governments and all that,
yes,
and when the times are rough and I'm talking about reduction of some of these things, all that they tell me is that you people, if you get, we do this, it doesn't even refer to the market prices.
Which is true. Which is true.
Yeah, and so we have to show good faith. Now, your question that you asked, my members have started responding. Initially, they will call me and ask me, Chairman, don't you think it's too early to call for this thing and all that? And I told them we had a significant stability around the 15th, and now it's coming down. So what else? What trend do you want me to show you? It is positive.
Okay.
So let's go by it, and then when it goes up, we adjust. Let me tell you, you don't necessarily have to work yourself up. Maybe if you bought the goods sometimes, because the dollar is not something that we buy it when you bought it only in January. When you buy it in January and the goods come, you will be selling. And then you see that it has come 14.5, and you buy some. You buy it has come 13.5, you buy some. So you journey along. It's not that this is the thing that they are using and all that. It's not fair.
Okay. So we've gotten the import of what you're saying.
Let me finish this. So what we do normally is to strike a reasonable average. For instance, myself, because I know I bought some at 16, at that time I used 16.5 to do my calculation. And now I'm buying some at say 13.5, 13.6. Then I come in between 14.5. I'll use 14.5 to 15, depending on the item in question, to do my calculation. In this case, I'm able to come in the middle, be able to pass on my benefit to consumer, and be able to be competitive and edge my competitors out.
Yeah.
Because if you do not do that, you don't survive. The competition out there is that you cannot overprice your goods out of competition.
Right.
And especially when your goods are perishable, you don't say that I'm going to wait where others are reducing. That may be higher. But so all that I'm doing is education for my members, also to survive at this time.
You remember when the city was 17 cities, and then I chased you for an interview. You were shaking like that in your office. I think it's where you have the lights a lot. I think you have a warehouse as well as you were shaking. You said your pressure was going up because it was 17. So I see that your pressure is now down. So use that pressure that is going downwards to also tell your people. Because that day you were shaking, pa. You remember that day? So okay, pa. Mate, but that's it. Yeah, Mate.
The effect that this thing have come, the respite that this thing have given us, the losses that we are recouping, and I'm very happy and very also thankful for the effort of managers of the economy to do even more. They should do their bit and we do our bit.
Okay, thank you. My time. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Dr. Joseph Obeng is the president for the Ghana Union of Traders Association. And as you conclude, Dr. Rashid, yesterday I spoke to a Nigerian, I don't know whether they call them retailer, because they have so much stock in their warehouse. You keep wondering whether they are retailers or wholesalers. He claims that 80% of them are retailers. And he said that what they do, the Nigerian traders, is to make sure that they quickly reduce the pricing so that the stock can just go off, so that they can make new orders. And then they do it in such a way that they're able to sell the new orders that will come from, looking at the freight. And it looks like they have a better way of doing that. They're sharp, right? Well, and our traders need to learn from them.
Well, that's business strategy. I mean, Nigerians are very smart in business. They catch up with the trend. And then, Guta, let me commend them. So far, so good. They are doing well. The leadership of Guta, they are responding positively to the goodies from government, and government will make sure that we sustain the goodies that we are giving them. It's for the benefit of the good people of Ghana. I mean, what is the essence of governance if you can bring relief to your people? And that is what we are doing. And then, so that's why when I was talking about my colleagues, the MPP, talking about we doing 56 instead of 60, and they have issues with it. You see, we wanted to put it out to the public, to get to understand that, look, even you can still run the country under 60 ministers. That is what we are doing currently. We are doing under 60.
So, when you say 60, you have
that's what I'm saying.
The promise.
And that's what I'm saying. I'm surprised they say
56.
They want to go on strike or demonstration for that. Demonstration or press conference to do. They are masters in press conference these days. So they want to do press conference for that. But you see, Ghanaians are rather enjoying that. We want to demonstrate to them, and he's doing fantastic on that. That look, I promise you 60, and even I'm doing less than 60, and look at the enjoyment you are doing. So the when we have successive government coming, should not think of doing more than 60, because if His Excellency John Dramani Mahama can do 56 currently, and look at the enjoyment Ghanaians are going through with it, that tells you that never again should we think of bringing an MPP government that will come and bring us some 120 or something and rip off the country and bring all of us to bear. A lot of business tycoons died. They died. So these are the things we are trying to do. So let's learn from what the best practices that is coming out from our finance minister. He's an astute economist. He's showing it practical economics. This is practical economy, not the theoretical one, not the one you go and do lectures and arrest the thing and see when this thing is done, it will expose you. Now, the fundamentals are strong. Is that not true? The fundamentals of the economy.
You haven't mentioned it.
I'm saying that somebody said when the fundamentals are weak, that the exchange rate will expose you. Is that not what they said? And today, the fundamentals are strong in the sense that the exchange rate is showing. Is that not it?
It's exposing, so they should come. How good governance is working in this country. And I'm saying that they should come and do lectures for that. Let people see how good governance is working. And then we have to commend His Excellency John Dramani. All right, let me come to Dr. Tutu Boahen. But before then, Dr. Joseph Obeng, you want to make an additional, is there an additional comment?
You are asking me whether it was responding. I was saying that when the consumer goes to the market, there are so many people who are responding. They should do their due diligence and set the market and get the good prices. Okay. And then I've told you, our brothers in the spare parts have also come out with a statement encouraging their members to reduce their prices. They said they released yesterday.
Yes, I saw it.
So they've all started responding.
Okay.
You understand?
Okay.
So I don't want the impression that when prices go down, we are slow to respond. When it goes up sharp quickly, we increase. I want to stop those notions, and then let's all do the rightful thing to help everybody in the society. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Joseph Obeng, President, the Ghana Union Trade Association. But just to have 2 minutes on this, unfortunately, I have to do flats because the way I'm seeing some of the pictures on my timeline, it's a concern. Even me, my place was a bit flooded, so it will help me. But just 2 minutes on this. What's your word of caution or advice to government and then the Bank of Ghana?
In terms of?
In terms of projecting positively, whilst at the same time cautiously being optimistic.
Oh, yes. For me, I think that, yes, as we before alluded to, okay, there are a lot of things that the government must take into consideration when it comes to, stabilizing the city and giving it more strength. All right. So some of the things that we have said are key points that I think that the ministry, government, Bank of Ghana, and then all major stakeholders will have to take into consideration. But, Roland, I just want to, comment on Mr. Obeng's, presentation. And in as much as I feel that some of the issues that he has raised are good, I also believe that most of them, I don't seem to agree with him. You remember the day you were having some discussions on this topic with Kuku tea, and
it is cookie tea.
Cookie tea.
You said cuckoo.
Okay. All right. Pardon me for that. So you see, someone, a listener, sent a comment and said that any time that there's price increase or the dollar appreciates, quickly they will increase the price. Why not this time when the dollar is depreciating? I mean,
you think they want to make profits?
At
the expense of the ordinary consumer?
That is the note I've made. All right. And for me, I also feel that some of the issues that he mentioned with regards to 80% of members being retailers, for me, that is a shot in the foot, right? And I feel that Guta and its leadership has no control over their members. Because if they had that control, I don't think that he would be saying that there is no, price control regime in Ghana. If there is no price control regime in Ghana, why is it that at any time in point, when the dollar appreciates, that one will increase? So is that the same thing about price controls? No, I think that Guta would have to give Ghanaians something better than the excuses that they
You think the appeals are not enough?
You see, he made a point and again shot himself in the foot.
I don't understand.
This is it. He said that, look, some of them would even change their money in advance, isn't it? And so if someone has done that about 6 months ago, and, now, I mean, it doesn't add up. You understand? Because if you go in there and you bring the goods, now you are selling at a higher price. Remember that somebody also did his this week. All right, and that person will bring the same goods. If it is this, brand of phone, another person has brought it maybe a week or so, and so it's not a good brand anyway. So what it means is that now you are selling yours based on the 15 cedis, dollar rate, and another person is selling his or hers, at maybe 12 cedis dollar rate. Who do you think consumers will go to buy?
Ideally.
So you were talking about the Nigerian, traders and the concept they are using.
I asked somebody yesterday.
Obviously, it doesn't make trade sense for you to sit and say that I am going to achieve zero inventory before I set it. I mean, what kind of thing is this?
It shouldn't go there. So they should do. So what more should Guta do to impress on their members? And then also, what advice do you have for the managers, whether it's on the monetary side or the fiscal side?
So I think my focus will be more on government.
Okay.
I think it's important for us to note that my personal view was that a lot of the depreciation we are seeing is because of, one, confidence, two, because of policies, monetary policy, and it's not just this government, but also become from the previous government. I think it is important for us to note that the current BOG governor is saying that they have not even touched the reserves yet, and even so, what they are doing is to increase it, and that's well and good. For me, it tells me that we can even drive the city, cause the city to appreciate further, and that is by government putting in place policies that will increase productivity or increase goods and services at the manufacturing sector and also through agric. It's very important that quickly they put in place policies that will increase productivity there. You understand? So the 24 hours economy that they campaign on, I think it is essential that quickly they come out with a policy on that. And that's why some of us were a bit disappointed when they came, they scrapped the 1D1F. Because the 1D1F as an idea was solid. It was just how Nanado decided to implement it that calls for it. But the 1D1F has any policy that
But the 1D1F is a good policy.
Excellent policy. But last week, did you not hear?
What frustrated it was the implementation.
Dangote praised it.
Bono, yeah. They say he says that it was fantastic, and so he's going to invest in it.
So the problem was with Nanado. You understand? The problem was with Nanado.
Nanado is no more in power.
Yeah, but he was a problem with the 1D1F, and so the solution. That's what I said. So the solution was not to scrap it entirely. Yeah. You know, you mentioned the VW, and you understand all those policies per se were not bad policies. It's about you trying to find ways of improving the implementation of things. So for me, I think they've done well. We shouldn't rest on ours. It's important that we look at at enhancing productivity at the manufacturing and agric side. And as for the good idea, I think the reason I stand on all fours with you.
They can do better.
Way better. So, okay. But you see, once government puts in place those policies, I'm sure the demand and supply will drive the prices down. So it's up to government. They've done well on the monetary side, but they must use their fiscal side also to enhance productivity in the manufacturing and agric sectors.
All the PhD holders who attained their PhD through academic thesis, etc., giving me messages. Even Dr. Tsubwan is pinching me. Why did I say Dr. Joseph Obing? I don't think there's anything wrong. Of course, I know what the...
why? He's not a doctor.
I know it's honorary, so
but he's a doctor.
I don't know, but
there's another thing that he's
PhD holder. Dr. Rashid Tanko computer.
It is well.
Yeah. So at the end of the day, you have to conclude on this. What in 2 minutes? What would be your foremost caution to all those who are saying government is doing well, including yourself? And then also the assurances that in the medium to long term, all the intended policies that are supposed to improve the import substitution sector, so to speak, in terms of grow those numbers over time, would be implemented effectively.
Well, like I stated, I mean, there's a close collaboration between the Finance Ministry and BOG, Bank of Ghana. I mean, that close collaboration is doing the trick. Okay, the side of monitoring aspect and that of physical aspect, there's a close collaboration between the two, and that is why they are giving us all the assurance that they will maintain it. They will make sure that they will maintain the momentum. Government will not overspend. Government will spend within its means and make sure that, especially those doing the import. I mean, you can see that of late, what is going on in the market, they are responding positively to what government is bringing out. And then so if they also continue this way, I can assure you the city will continue to appreciate further. Don't be surprised by the close of the year. We can do less than 10 cities. I can say because the path we are cruising. Okay, if the market responds positively to what government is also bringing, I can assure you things will get better. Because this is a disciplined government. Okay, in a disciplined government, you expect these things to happen. It is when you have an indisciplined government that is reckless in spending, and they don't care about the good people of the country, you are going to have a percentage of 54% of inflation, unprecedented since 1992 under their regime, went to the roof. Look at what they handed over to them, but it's coming down drastically. And then so both the two bodies, the Ministry of Finance and Bank of Ghana, let's give them credit for what they are doing. The collaboration is so fantastic. Their eye is on the ball. The president is also on top of the issue and is monitoring closely what is going on. And that is why I use this opportunity to thank the Guta leadership, I mean, for talking to their people. Because when it is difficult, you see them talking, plenty. Now things are getting better. And we expect that they should also preside on their people to bring down the prices. And they are doing the same. I mean, the leadership are doing fantastic on that. They are talking to them. Let them also respond to that. And I'm saying that they shouldn't let our Nigerian brethren who are in the retail market, they are smarter. I mean, they know this thing, the business of this thing. However, they take over the whole place and then our own people will complain again.
Why have you allowed foreigners to trade? All right. What has confronted many residents in Kumasi and then Accra, especially over the last 24 hours? No, the last 12 hours. I have to be more precise. Or even 16 hours has been floods. So it started raining, I believe, the afternoon of yesterday, and then didn't end until evening, so to speak, in some areas. And you'll find that there are videos as well as replicated on social media, not only of TV3 Ghana, but across generally, of few hours of rain, excessive flooding, and it looks like we're still in the rainy season. We have about a month to go, especially those who plan funerals in May, June, especially starting from April, May, June. You always tend to make grounds as well as provisions for rains, especially if they are outdoor activities. And you find excessively that many people had complained. Accra, Kumasi. And I always say that if, let's say, you're a journalist or somebody who is in charge of a city authority, you would have to predict. No, not even predict. You can always know what the trend will be, what your script will be, how you respond to the media if you have been freshly appointed. It's always the same. Now it's even getting worse. Really, what was the depth of the rain yesterday that made us see all this? Across Lakeside, estates, the places in Kumasi, around the airport area in Kumasi, etc. Even places around the motorway plains all getting flooded. Dowenya, for example. I even saw Kojo Sheldon. He said his house or studio area was even flooded. Very good, very good. Thank you, Shadrach, for this as well, and Brenda. So you could see that clearly there's something that's wrong. Felicity, tell us.
Good morning, Reverend, and good morning to everyone. Yes, as we are all aware, the rains have started a long time ago, and we are in the rainy season. The challenge is we are having the dry spells in between the rainy days that we have been experiencing since March. As we are moving towards the peak of the season, which is in June, and then we expect it to decline in later part of July into August for the southern sector. We expect this sort of rain in terms of the intensity. Yesterday we had a rage storm over the ocean that pushed inland all the way from the Aflau border into Upper Lake. And then since its moisture laden conditions are ripe we have it lingering on for hours. Some areas had it for almost like 6 hours. Some had it almost at 4 hours. And then the intensity is moderate, causing a flood over some places. And as we keep saying, some of the floods are man-made because we choose to block the waterway. So where the runoff is supposed to pass, it's not getting it. So definitely it will create its own path and then go and cause havoc. The volume that comes up now received the figures that I'm trying to get to the office. Okay. But then if you check where I was at near observation, I'm sure some areas will get around 50 millimeters, others may get 20, others may get 60 millimeters. So the volume was quite great, which can result into the flooding that we have experienced. Then also moving forward, yes, at least 2 or 3 of such type of rain is still possible to affect the southern sector. It may not be Accra again, but maybe for Volta, it may be for Kufuria or anything into Ashanti region, and then maybe one more for the coastal state, where maybe Accra may also get such situation. So as Ghanaian and as citizens, we need to have our gains to see what we can do to distill most of our drainage.
Right. And again, the same explanation is the poor spatial planning. We're building, encroaching haphazardly, right? And then also we're tiling everywhere, and so no water is draining because vegetative cover is still the same explanation, right?
Yes, it's still the same explanation, and even now it's getting worse as we are also talking about climate change or global warming or climate variability. And the WMO or IPCC, they are saying that the intensity will keep increasing. So if, like yesterday, maybe I don't have the figures yet, let's assume the highest was 16 millimeters. Coming year, it's likely that we may get 70 or 80. So every year it will increase. So it is about time that we sit as a stakeholder or as a country, as a nation, to see how we can address this annual predicaments that always befall us anytime we are into the rainy season, especially between May and June.
Wow.
We have this situation. We need to. On the part of GMS and other stakeholders, yes, they are coming up with the early warning system whereby GMS will be able to send us as far ahead of time so that we will be able to plan properly. So I'm sure in the near future things will improve. All
right. Dr. Tutubuan, you were not affected, right?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. But what do you make? It's an annual ritual.
So it will become a misnomer when it rains.
That's why, we did it for our question of the day. So we thought we shouldn't make it the first subject. Yes. So but it's sad, is it not?
It is. But I also would want to believe that, you see, I was happy when I read what President Mahama said over the week, that the performance of MCs and MMCs, will be measured based on sanitation. And I think that it should be something that he should enforce, with all resources and everything that he has. At the end of the day, when it rains and you move out, I think on Saturday, after the rains, I move out going to Cantamanto. And what I saw on the streets, I couldn't believe it. Everywhere plastic. Gutters were choked with plastics. Rains couldn't, the gutters, the drainage, everything. It was so bad that you see running water on the roads. And over time, when water, runs over roads, what it means is that it is going to erode it. And Ghana is going to spend money. And so I think that pragmatic measures should be taken to deal with some of these things. And Roland, our behavior is also very important. What is happening is a behavioral issue. And I also feel that we have caused it as citizens of this country. People are reluctant to take responsibility when it comes to disposal of waste. All right. And you see people, grown-up people in Ghana, throwing rubbish into gutters whenever it is raining. So when you throw it into it and you are not affected, remember that someone's life is in danger somewhere. All right. And so that level of responsibility and that level of behavioral change is something that I think that the NCC, should look for funds and begin to talk about some of these things. Why are you shaking your head? I think I've not landed.
Oh, okay. I thought you did.
Mr. I beg you, don't give doctor. I'm not a doctor. Mr. Pierre.
I've not landed. But again,
my apologies.
I think that the Minister for Trade and I think Industry, right, could also, have discussions with plastic manufacturers and people who, use plastics for their products, especially sachet water producers, and in this country. That discussion should be held so that they take responsibilities of some of these things, because I feel that apart from the inefficiencies, with local administrators like, MCEs and all that, to take responsibility to check some of these things. Manufacturers of plastics also have a responsibility, and they need to, as it were, bear costs in terms of recycling and all that. I mean, when you pick a pure water bottle, you will see a sign on it, all right, which suggests that they have invested into, recycling. Okay, but they have not. And I think that governments should make it a policy or a law, to get some of these companies, to do that. And when that is done, I believe that some of these things will be reduced. The size of even the gutters that we have. And my question is even whether we have people who are in charge of taking or working on our gutters to make sure that they are desilted, they are clean, and that when it rains, water has that kind of, free flow, so that it doesn't harm people and all that. I think that a lot more needs to be done as a country. Okay. And we should also note that most of the things, government cannot do it. The eyes of government may not get into our very homes. So the responsibilities lies on us as citizens of this country, to also help in these directions. And I think that when we all do our part, it will help us.
All right.
Well, so I hold a slightly different view from
Dr. Tutubwani.
Yeah, I understand. So, and let me clarify this. When it comes to us all being responsible, I agree. But you see, you don't lead on the premise that we will do our part. Yeah, you don't lead on that premise.
You are saying leadership is everything.
Yeah, indeed. It's every year. In fact, I'm not a prophet, like I'm not a doctor. You understand? But if there's one thing I can predict, that around May, June, every year, we will have these issues. And it's a collective failure on all of us as a people. Why? Because we failed to, all of us, to choose proper leadership. You see, like Prof is saying, that government does not have the eye, but government will have the eye if we decentralize governance. Government will have the eye if we do proper decentralization. Yeah, understand?
The system is decentralized.
No, just in writing, but not really.
So the practice is not there.
Yeah, we must do proper decentralization. Yeah, because we have building codes. We all know that when it comes to enforcement of the building codes, it's a duty of what's called the local government. Yeah. When it comes to planning and enforcement of the planning space, it's not central government that will do that. It is about the local government, because real governance is done at the local level. Real governance is done at the local level, and unless and until central government itself allows the local government to function and function properly, then we'll just be doing talk show. I will come here after every rain and come and talk.
Lamentation of the...
You see, it's sad. We don't seem to learn.
Of the Ghanaian.
You know, I love football. And it's sad that I have to bring this experience.
Liverpool.
Yeah, Liverpool and Asante Kotoko. Liverpool and Asante Kotoko.
Reds.
Every red. Understand? After the Hillsborough disaster, the response of the British government was to radically change how football supporters experience their football experience. To the extent that right now, people, it's like a family event. People take their children, all sita. That was a response, a radical response to a disaster. Sadly, was it May something?
Yeah, May 9th.
No, not May 9th. The June 3rd
disaster. 2015.
Disaster,
yeah, we seem not to be learning.
Yeah.
It's like we don't learn. After this monumental disaster, we seem not to be learning. Yesterday, personally, I was not impacted because I like green. So when you come to my house, most of the space is green. But
I don't understand. You're saying that if you have horticultural plants in your home, it means you won't be flooded.
No,
when you're the precincts of
the architects
area
will tell you that when it comes to your grounds, about 70% ought to be green. That's why when you go to the states and most of when you go to the houses, they just pave just a bit. The rest are all green, and it's even in our building codes.
Yes.
So why are they not? People build on.
That's the responsibility I was talking about.
But central, because it's all at the top.
Pipe it down from top.
And he said that they don't have the eyes. It's not good. You understand? But when you deliberately proper decentralization, not the morph decentralization. When you do proper decentralization, you understand, and make local government work, and they have the integrity and commitment to enforce the laws, we can keep this. Because I can tell you next year, it will happen. So we come
2
here.
years after that,
it will happen. We come and we are not being guided by history and the disasters of history. Yeah. So people, what's called today. So personally, my house wasn't flooded. But when I was coming out, I know usually I'm here on time.
Yes.
The only reason why today I wasn't even late, but at least I didn't come as early as I usually do. It's because around the what's called so there's a bridge around the disaster.
Yeah.
Total disaster. I've seen videos. Is it Kwabena Sheldon or whatever? Some Sheldon guy.
Kwejo Sheldon. The head is big for a reason.
You understand? Floods. People's when you go to lakeside, I've seen videos of people's houses completely flooded. Why? Why are we doing this to ourselves? You see, we need to stop talking. We need to be serious as a people. We need to do it right thing. And our leaders should give proper leadership. This is a time for us to insist that proper decentralization is done. Other than that, we just come and talk and just waste our time and talk, and the disaster will happen again.
Lawyer Pierre Dankwa is despondent. And,
no, I'm not despondent. I'm angry.
Lawyer Pierre Dankwa is angry.
Council should not be angry.
Doctor, what's up?
You know, our problem in Ghana currently is indiscipline. Like you were saying, it's indiscipline.
You mean on the part of leadership or all of us?
Not leadership, all of us.
But who gives the land away?
No, that's where the problem is. And that is what His Excellency John Dramani Mahama last week, he made a statement about this, as if he knew. The man must be a soothsayer.
No, he doesn't need to be. All of us know that
he spoke about it.
Yes.
He was taxing MMDCs.
That we need to even expand the city of Accra.
That is it. He spoke about it extensively. That's what I'm saying, as if he's a soothsayer. He foresaw this and said that, look, we need to do something about Accra. Not only Accra, and also tax the MMDCs to take up the bull by the horn about how to handle their municipalities. Because this has become an albatross on our neck. But the indisciplined nature of some of us, I don't know, just because of luxury or because of richness, they go and build on waterways. They'll go and build on waterways.
Yeah, but who gives them the
authorities
and the local, they see the thing and they don't.
That
they
is
don't
where
do
the problem.
Sometimes you are doing something. There's even a video trending now of Erastus going to a Galamsey side. There's an MP, the MP for. He was speaking on the phone. Wasa.
I think
Wasa
that one.
Yeah, he was speaking and said they should. He has control, so they should leave. And this were a group of army personnel and journalists. Erastus was pardoned. So leadership.
Roland,
Because, for example, even you go to you travel a lot as well. You go to Singapore, you can't chew gum and let the gum.
Yes,
if you are caught.
But Roland, you see,
they enforce in the West.
MP thing, I think they didn't play the full footage. The MP was not sacking them.
I hope you are not defending that.
No,
it's just something I'm talking about leadership and the subject.
But you see, the truth of the matter is this.
What's MP, right?
Yeah, this flood that we have experienced yesterday is partly indiscipline and must be blamed on the doorstep of the former administration. 200 million. Let me give you an example.
No, Dr. Rashid,
Roland.
Tanko computer.
Roland,
I won't let you make this
point. Do you know
point.
what I'm saying? Do you know what I'm saying? No, you should have let me land it.
All of us have looked on, yeah.
No, you see, let me land, and you get the import of what I'm saying.
But it has happened under this administration.
What I'm saying is that
June 3rd happened.
Somebody,
June 3rd happened, yeah.
If you spend
over
200 million Ghana cedis to dredge Odo River, do you think you have this kind of problem? You went further to ask for over 150 million loan facility for the same purpose. Go to Odo River and see.
But it's supposed to be a garage.
And I'm saying that's why I'm saying that government is taking the bull by the horn. If this amount of money was sunk into this kind of thing, and yet nothing has happened.
Dr. Rashid, no,
I'm saying that we must face it. We must face it.
Just like the US dollar trend.
I'm saying that we must face it. We are doing something about it. Government is up and working towards to alleviate this kind of. And you see, we have to commend the Interior Minister. You remember they took some action through the Immigration Service to pick all these immigrants, these Nigerians, beggars who came and flooded the place. Do you know this disaster would have recorded a lot of deaths? You know where they were sleeping? Just by the banks of the Odo River. As quarters. The water would have swept all of them into the distance. They were living there with their children. So you see, this government is up to the task. And I am telling you that we'll pull down all the buildings on the waterways.
But the waterway buildings are owned by some of the biggest...
I'm saying that
politicians in Ghana.
The president has given.
And I remember when I was young, the motorway once in a while get flooded, and then I asked, and they say that they leave those places uninhabited for good reason. They're supposed to be Ramsar sites.
Ramsar site and all that.
For fauna and all that.
Yes.
But now you go there. So if you build on it, so it means that some people beyond that channel are going to suffer.
Of course.
And those lands are not owned by very cheap people. Yeah. They are priced in US dollar. But Dr. Rashid Tanko,
Roland,
computer. I love you so much. Thank you so much. But this one, we're not going to politicize it. So it's being depoliticized. Let's do our first draw, and then I'll show you a video of a young lady I saw on Daniel Awazi Boache's page, and then I decided to show it as well. I gave it to Johnny, and Johnny also used it quite well. But I have a couple of comments. But let's do a first draw. 1,000 Ghana cedis going to the winner. 321. 321. So I have this one from Prince Henry Kofodia. It says, to be sincere, one of the major causes of the perennial flooding in Akwa and part of Ghana is the way we have chosen to floor our inner perimeter of our houses. There is a regulation. Why is it that we're not enforcing it? We look on. The leadership as well as the citizens themselves are to be blamed. And then also, Chief Mantain Kofodia says, I should tell Dr. Tanko Computer to stop the blame game. Let's find something to resolve the current problem. And he says the flooding problem has to do with both we, the citizens and government that come to power. The charter and attitudes of always dumping waste into gutters and the government also not being proactive is also the problem. This is not an NDC MPP matter. We have to stop the blame game. It will happen again. If it happens, somebody will pull the tape today, as been said. Neodik ni kwe atukwe, ni atukwe kwe. I would like to know if our NADMO and other government agencies are well equipped and prepared for the floods. The reset agenda should be effective in tackling the flood issues this year. Dr. Tanko Computer says it's on. And so it's going to be done well. BT Sly, I see your message as well. Elephant-sized government. That's why the CD appreciation, you say so. So, Twaso. All right. For all those who are, Bruce Foko as well. But let's do the draw. 3, 2, 1. 1,000 Ghana cedis going to the number 0558800. I'm saying good morning to Kojo Bona, Radio Entertainment. Great guy, great guy. We also have to tell you about other things, but thank you, gentlemen, for coming. Very astute. Even though your homes were flooded, you still came, with the exception of Mr. Tanko. No. I was also affected. Our areas were flooded as well, but I tried to come. If you don't come, it's not good for us.
It is well.
It is well, eh?
Yes, it is well.
All right. We'll also tell you about all the people who have been on our stream sending us messages. So we'll tell you, money, new day. I see all this as well. Yeah, February says, Mr. Tanko wants us to go back to the May 9 flooding and fire disaster. What did his government do after the calamity for bringing the MPP into the matter? And then surveyors and town country planning are problems. That's Anani Germain. And then Stephen Foley says, tell JM to work extra hard. I haven't seen anything vibrant there apart from some things he promised we want 20 days and a recent deportation when it comes to, and then Tefe Jerry also said, Roland, you're a journalist, hide your MPP politics. This guy, I have to block him on. Okay. And then I have Lebene Hosiana. Good morning to you. She's my classmate as well, so I always like reading her messages. Mani Nimani says they don't remove those people who have built on waterways. It is because of elections. That is why they always do that. They think they'll vote against them. Yeah, that's also part of it, I believe. And then Tia Idrisu said he's monitoring Kobe Confidence. Good morning to you. And then Jamal Al-Khali. Good morning to you. Aziz Dollar is also on the stream, so we're grateful. But let's also tell you why landfills to landmarks in partnership with the Office of the Minister of State for Climate Change and Sustainability, and then also supported by the British Heart Foundation, is presenting a global summit from the 22nd to the 23rd of May 2025. And it's right here in Accra, the Kempinski Hotel, which is a turning point for having a congregation of over 500 global leaders, all in manufacturing, recycling, investment, and policy, who are going together to showcase solutions, transforming textile waste into circular economy value, from sorting to retail, carbon credits, and green jobs. There, you're going to meet major players from Europe and Ghana's rising up cycling innovators, and in attendance, we're going to have a lot of people, but still limited. This is what you need to do. You have to reserve your seats now. Go to the website, landfieldstolandmarks.com. The 2 is just the normal figure 2. Or you can also call 020-506-7064. Remember, we have headline sponsors like Textile Recycling International UK, made up of Cookstown Textile Recyclers, Nathan's Waste Savers, SWD, Wilcox Key Collaborators, Cream Exchange, State Global UK, among others. We have some supporters like GCB Bank, Tradeway Shipping, ELT Global, HDM Engineering, media partners being Media General, Asase Radio, Joy News, and City FM. We also have cash out as always, and it goes to a Shoko star 439 hash. For all of you, I see Felix Ajatu and the rest, please. We're taking a break. When we come back, we're going to bring you the latest headlines in sports, but please watch this. I saw this on social media. I thought that we should listen to the young lady. Her room all spoiled as a result of flooding.
Everywhere is flooded in my house. It's crazy. Come my room. Like, hey, like I've never seen anything like this in my life before.